it could have been a 2 out of 3 win for the Yankees if Friday goes different. But of course, Friday went the way it went. And then Sunday, good
Now,
Lord.
Sunday should have been a win. I'm sorry. With the way Luis Heel pitched, I guess you could take the confidence out of the game with Luis Heel and look at the fact that, after 3 really bad starts, it looks like he kind of figured something out and he found something. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean, they can't beat Boston. They can't. And they beat him up Saturday, and that's good to see. But you can't follow up games like Saturday with games like Sunday. Yeah, that's not what good teams do. That's what bad teams do. Bad teams score 14 runs in one game and then get shut out the next game.
Yeah. Kind of like, not that they were bad last year, but the Padres had that issue last year where they'd win games like 10-0 and then they'd be shut out the next day. And the thing about it is Cutter Crawford came into the game with a 3.47 ERA. It wasn't 4.37. If it was 4.37, I would have expected the performance that he had on Sunday night. So much early swinging in the counts, just making things really easy for him. They weren't making any solid contact off him. He's not a terrible pitcher, but he's not the kind of pitcher that shuts a team out like that and only has 68 pitches through, 5-6 innings. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it was embarrassing. And I was annoyed. And also, I am not a proponent of violence. And I'm not meaning that they should throw at him, but can someone make Rafael Devers a little uncomfortable at the plate? Just a little uncomfortable at the plate.
Not even that. Not even that. Don't pitch to him. Don't give him pitches to hit.
The last home run, the pitch was out of the zone. Like, it's just, it was that kind of a night for him. Like Tonkin, I don't think was trying to pitch to him, but I can't take it. He hasn't reached David Ortiz levels of hatred for me. Not yet. But it's close. It's getting there.
It's got the same theme as Ortiz, though, in the fact that, the Yankees for years refused to pitch inside of David Ortiz. He commanded the entire left batting box, and nobody wanted to push him off. And I don't know why. It's like a respect thing, but they do the same thing with Devers.
Yeah, it's stop respecting them.
Well, and the thing is, too, Devers has dominated them for a while now.
Yeah.
This has not been for a year. This is for years now.
Oh, yeah.
He has 16
home runs at Yankee Stadium now, because it was 15 before the second home run of the night for him. He is, I saw a list. He's up there with Jim Rice now with how many home runs he's hit against the Yankees. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sick and tired of it. And I'm sick and tired of, I don't need them to go back to the 70s Yankees Red Sox where they were literally beating each other up and they actually hated each other. We don't need that. We also don't need it to be like when Pedro was throwing at people. But there's got to be some sort of something where you move this guy off the plate and make him feel a little uncomfortable, because I'm sick and tired of it. I really am.
There's not much of a rivalry anymore because the Red Sox win all the games. See, it's not a rivalry when you're not splitting off wins and it becomes difficult. Right now, and I know I wasn't here last week, but they played the same way. This is a bad baseball team right now. That's what the Yankees have become. And it's sad because
on Saturday.
It's sad because of the way the season started, though. With the way the season started, they shouldn't be as bad as they are, and they don't score runs. They don't pitch well anymore. Give me this, Yankee fans. In the month of June, really since June 1st, and now we're at July 8th, but since June 1st, what do the Yankees do well? Seriously. What do they excel at? Because there's nothing they do. They haven't won a series since June 5th. They're not playing to their potential, and it scares me into thinking, is their potential what they are right now?
No.
Or were they playing over their head early on in the season?
I said this on the show. I did a live stream Saturday, and I said, they're not as good as they were at the beginning of the season, but they're also not as bad as they are right now. They're somewhere in the middle of that, They're
one of the worst teams in the league right now, though.
Now.
Statistically, they legitimately are one of the worst teams in the league.
Oh, yeah. They've lost 16 of their last 22 games. They've failed to win 7 straight series.
Yeah.
That's the run that they're on right now.
Think about when the season started, how many straight series they had won coming into the year. And think about how bad this year could look right now if they didn't get off to the start they got off to. I mean, you got to look at a lot of these things. And it's sad, too, because you have Judge and Soto both playing at MVP levels. But those are the only 2 players you have doing anything. I mean, you're going to have Judge go into the All-Star break with 35 homers, more than likely, with 90 RBIs. You're not scoring runs. You're not running the bases, which I don't know why they've decided to not try and steal a base in 20 games. That's stunning to me. Longest streak since 1964 without trying to steal a base. That's weird to me. The starting pitching staff has been awful. I mean, highlighted by Carlos Rodon. Luis Gil's fallen off, but Carlos Rodon has been as atrocious as he was last year. The bullpen has completely fallen off. I think Clay Holmes getting an all-star nod today was one of the most bogus things I've ever seen in my life. No, you put Clay Holmes in the all-star game. I'm sorry, Stacey. It has to do with the whole first half, and I know he was great in the first 2 months, but since the start of June, the Yankees' tumble has been his tumble too. He's got like an 8 ERA.
Yeah,
I mean he's been awful since the start of June. I don't know how he got in the All-Star game. It's crazy if you go back to that All-Star game episode that we had of what players were going to wind up in the All-Star game, and the amount of guys you'd strip off that list now.
Yeah,
because it's just Soto and Judge that deserve to go.
You know, if you're going to penalize Gil for having a bad few weeks, why wouldn't you do the same for Clay Holmes? Because it's the same.
I don't get it. They did the same thing to Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe was an all-star. He was, and now all of a sudden he's not. Because that can happen if you struggle. I'm not taking that away from you, but I mean, Clay Holmes has been awful since the start of June. He's literally has like an 80 ERA. He's been terrible, and somehow for some reason too, Clay Holmes got in the All-Star game. I don't understand how that happened at all. Listen, it's been bad. It's been as bad advertised. I mean, it's literally been that bad.
This is the third season in a row that this team has gone on. Like we keep seeing like, oh, they haven't done this since such and such a year. They haven't done this in 40 years. They haven't done this in 30 years. And it's like, when is Hal going to wake up? When's Cashman going to wake up? It's not just the players. Like, someone has to wake this team up. And if someone's going to get fired, I don't want them to fire some like assistant hitting coach that we've never heard of before. No. Like, you really need to do something, because this is the thing that drives me crazy. And we'll go to segment 2 after this. They have this attitude where they think they could just turn it on. Like, Stanton's going to come back. Clark Schmidt's going to come back.
Yep.
F. Ross will come back. You know, maybe like Ian Hamilton and some of the other guys who were injured will come back. And they think that they'll be able to turn it on again and play like they were playing in the beginning of the season. And you just can't. Yeah. And you can't expect that to happen. You can hope it will, but they play with that same mindset. And it's happened so many seasons in a row now.
Yep.
When are they going to learn that that's not the way things are working for your team? That's not the way the things work for the New York Yankees right now. Like, you really need to, Judge just, I'm sure he's a great captain, like within the clubhouse, because he's cool with the guys, but someone needs to start yelling at everyone. I'm sorry. Someone needs to flip a table. Someone needs to get a little angry, because there is no 16 out of 22. Are you kidding me?
And you gotta start to talk about this manager.
You were 50-22 before this stretch. 50-22. And how many wins do you have now? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I can't. Something needs to happen. We're gonna get into it tomorrow on tomorrow's episode. I've determined that.
If you're a Locked On Yankees fan, you're going to want to be on segments. I mean, you should be on every segment, but segments 1 and 2 of next episode, we're going to go after some people, because it's been embarrassing. No one's speaking up. No one's saying anything about it. Everyone's acting like, we've been on a little bit of a rut here. This isn't a rut. This has been for a month and a half now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, even though it's 16 of the last 22 games, and yes, they were 50-22, you saw cracks beginning before this stretch, and you thought, like maybe they'll avoid the nosedive. Nope, they're on a 300-foot giga coaster.
Yep,
going straight down, like one of those 90-degree hills that they have on those crazy hybrid wooden metal roller coasters. That's what they're on right now.
And unless something's fixed, it's going to burn down in a fiery crash, because it's looking like that right now. I mean, there's no one on this team that you could convince me deserves to keep their job right now in a managerial role. There isn't. Right. Managerial, front office, nobody. Because was the team built sort of well? Sure. But also, you brought back Anthony Rizzo, who was, I don't want to hear about the injury. He was hitting 100 before the injury. And you brought him back. Labor, there was no plan for any of these guys to get hurt. Any replacement idea? Nothing. And you got lucky with Luis Gil being as good as he's been in the start of the year. You got really lucky. And you saw once Heel couldn't figure it out for a few starts, you saw what it turned into.